Aren't they spectacular? I have never seen anything like this in my life. These are Cork Oaks, Quercus huber from the Mediterranean. And they've been here for 140 years. Just some of the spectacular champion trees I want to show you in this garden. Now, for over 1,000 years, the bark of this tree was sustainably harvested right around the world for cork stoppers for bottles, in particular to service the wine industry as it grew globally. Now, these trees have never been harvested. There's the bark there, and it's really thick, but it is truly a fantastic tree.
I close my eyes and I can feel you in me. Oh, I'ma make you work. Gotta prove you're worth it. Show me something more.
Known for its big trees, I'm in a private property called Rockford in the Adelaide Hills. And this avenue, truly spectacular, are English oak. Now, if you're going to plant an avenue in your place, maybe you haven't got the space for an English oak, that's understandable. But in the 21st century, a lot of the trees are more narrow and more teardrop shaped, like in the local township of Harndorf up here in Adelaide Hills, where they've planted a maple called Autumn Blaze. They still look terrific, but they've got plenty of room to grow. So the two important criteria for your place are the selection of the species to fit and also the spacing between the trunks so they can grow to their full majesty. Now, you might know of different sorts of poplars. This one is the silver or white poplar because on the reverse of the leaf, from dark green, it goes to a silvery white. When it blows in the breeze, it's quite a beautiful colour. But this tree is a national champion on the Australian Register of Big Trees. And it's absolutely enormous. So why is this particular tree on the register? Well, for a start, it's 4 metres around the trunk. It's also 19 metres tall with a 20-metre spread. It's absolutely enormous. And then there's this monster. This is the Bunya Pine. This fellow was most likely planted as 2 little seedlings back in the 1800s. It is still the biggest of its kind in South Australia. Oh, and by the way, it has the most enormous football-sized cone that weighs a tonne. When it comes down in a breeze, you don't want to be underneath the tree or park your car under it either. Now, this old grandfather here is one of the biggest, oldest living trees in the world, and it has a fantastic Latin name. It's called Sequoiadendron Gigantium, and gigantium it certainly is. It can go up to 90 metres in height, and it can live for 3,000 years and more. These are spectacular trees from California. It's got quite a few big trees over there, and they say it's, at times, the tallest tree in the world. Well, I think the mountain ash in Victoria are a flowering gum tree, and I think they pipped this one by 1 metre or 2 because it has flowers. So I think Australia might have the tallest flowering tree. But regardless, this is a very long-lived ancient monster. Kim, how long have you been here now?
We moved here in 2003.
What did you do? Because it's now magnificent. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah, it was quite a task. We had to move out for about 9 months, and it's really had to be redone top to bottom. We were told when we bought the property that the house wasn't habitable. Put buckets down the hall when it rained and...
The situation, of course, then was it had one of the greatest collections of trees in Australia. Not only South Australia, but the whole nation. So that's a huge responsibility. Take on a heritage home to restore and then look after these trees.
I mean, the trees were one of the attractions, really. You can buy beautiful houses. It's very hard to find a place with tree plantings like that.
Some of the trees, of course, are now, in the 21st century, in their home countries, endangered.
Yeah.
So these become really important sort of arboretums of trees.
Yeah. Generally, they're in pretty healthy condition.
They are. They look magnificent. Wow, this is a beautiful view, isn't it? You've got the cedars,
Yep.
cypress, liquid ambers,
Yep. The plane tree.
and the plane tree in the back, and there's just a great
Yep.
vista of foliage. Mate, I've got to thank you for sharing your property
Very much pleasure.
with the rest of the country, because
you.
seeing beautiful
Thank you.
trees and
Yep.
a fabulous historic home like this, it's a real treasure.
Terrific.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks very much. Cheers.